Boxing on Channel 5. Defending his name, his legacy. Harlem Eubank, battling his way up the super lightweight rankings. Can he remain undefeated? Big Fight Live, Eubank versus Uruzquieta, Friday at 10 on Channel 5.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast, joined for the first time in a while. Matty, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's another big week for you. Back out for the second time in, I think, 7 weeks, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Back to the York Hall, back on Channel 5. Good to get out. Activity is what we need, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I've just coming off the back of a great show. I've been given I'll be opening up the show live at 10 o'clock, I think, on Channel 5. So what an opportunity this is for a young fighter like myself. I'm only 23 years old and I'm able to show my talents in front of such big audiences. It's an absolute blessing.
Yeah, let's talk about that. We were just talking off camera about the audiences that these Wasserman shows on Channel 5 are bringing in. Last week, mega numbers with Lyndon Arthur. But back end of last year, we saw massive numbers with Eubank Farrell. When we saw the Troy Williamson against Josh Kelly, they are massive numbers. And for a young heavyweight, we know the heavyweight's always the glamour division, but to get that exposure is just... they're unparamounted in what you're getting moving forward, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's great and everything, the exposure, but obviously I need to go in there and put a performance on. So I'm fully focused, fully locked in for Friday night. But yeah, I've just got to go in there and make sure that I put on a great performance, get them out early, and giving everyone something to talk about. Until Saturday night, because obviously Joshua's fighting.
We'll get to that in a minute. But looking at your opponent, just on box right there, I think he's 2-2. Do you know much about him?
No, I ain't watched anything of him. I don't. When it comes to these opponents, and I don't really watch too much of them. I don't care. I'm here to. I will need to know and figure out everything that I need to know in the first 30 seconds. I haven't got to go away and watch footage of my opponents. I watch enough boxing as it is so that I can educate my mind so that I can deal with these, whatever is in front of me. Do you know what I mean? Obviously it's okay, as you move up the levels, I'm going to have to come in with a game plan of such, but even then, most of it you're going to have to figure out in the ring because fighters change and all the rest of it, so... No, I don't know. It's a respectable record, same as the last one. Go in there and get him out.
You're still so young, so there's no rush absolutely whatsoever in your career. And these learning fights are just getting the experience and the exposure in the professional ranks. But we know you've sparred the top pedigree of the heavyweight division. So how many of these types of opponents would you like before we slowly start to see a move up in levels?
Again, that's a question for my management team. I'm here to fight. My job is to prepare for each fight to the best of my ability and go in there and get the job done, regardless of who it's against. They're all warm bodies. Do you know what I mean? We all bleed the same. We're all human. So I don't really care who they put in with me. It's for my management team and my trainer to figure out. They're good with all that kind of stuff. As I said, I'm probably being slow walked because I'm young, a heavyweight, I've got time, and as long as I keep going in there and putting on good performances, hopefully I want to be pushing towards titles towards the back end of the year, at whatever shape that looks like. At least manoeuvring myself in a position to box for titles. Said I am 23, but I've still. It's a short career boxing, and I want to get in there and. While I'm still, I want to go in and achieve. That's what I come in here for. The money side of it is, it's inconsequential. To be honest, I don't even deal with my own money. I've got my parents to deal with it. But I just love the fighting. I could live off a couple £100 a week and do this job. Do you know what I mean? I don't need expensive stuff, or I don't need to live a lavish lifestyle. I like living uncomfortable and I like fighting. This is my thing. So yeah, I'm not. Back to your question. Do I care who they put in front of me? Absolutely not.
It's been, I think, the third year now since the Sauerland teamed up with Wasserman Boxing in this new venture, and the second year of the Channel 5 link-up. I believe we're moving into the second year.
Yeah, we're moving.
Yeah, this will be the second year. So, on a personal point of view, how happy are you with the team? Because from an outside point of view, it seems like you're being spearheaded as the future of Wasserman Boxing and their push in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's because I'm knocking people out. That's why. I'm extremely grateful. I mean, you say, how do I feel about it? They've got me on at 10 o'clock, prime time, on Freeview TV. Come on, man. I'm 23 years old. That is an absolute blessing. What a great opportunity. As I said, they're really making sure that I'm supposed to gearing towards the future. And that's great. It's great for me. It's great for my team. As I say, everyone's going to get to reap the rewards of that. Apart from me, I don't care. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for exposure, and plus it puts my name on the map so that eventually, later down the line, or whenever that is, I can be involved in bigger fights.
Outside of your performances in the ring, you're becoming known in the boxing world for turning up to every event, coming to all the fights, because I know you are a massive boxing fan. It's not just your job. So I do want to get your opinions on a big fight that you mentioned early on in the interview this weekend, Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Anthony Joshua's comeback fight, a new dawn it's being pitched as, but what do you make of the fight?
I think Joshua spikes him. I think he gets him over, gets him out early. It's obviously great that Franklin's lost the weight, but that's also going to affect his punch resistance, losing what looks to be quite a bit in not that long of a time frame. So I think Joshua goes in there and gets him out early, first 4 or 5 rounds, and comes back, probably box Dillian White after that, wouldn't he?
Do you feel like this new chapter in Anthony Joshua's career, teaming up with Derek James, moving out to America, it is really a whole new start? And do you feel like with a win on Saturday, he can be thrusted straight back into the very top of the heavyweight division?
Yes and no. Is he athletically capable? Yes, but as I said, it's a mental game. People forget that when Lennox Lewis got knocked out by Oliver McCall, look at the people he boxed after that, before we went back in and fought McCall again. I think he had 2 or 3 fights that were building fights back into that. So I was going to say, it's held to a completely different standard these days, boxing is. Although AJ didn't get knocked out in his last fight, he is more than within his rights to rebuild. It's what the people call it. Obviously Lennox are great, and I genuinely think that he is one of the greatest of all time. But there was a reason that he is in that conversation, because he was manoeuvred the right way, especially after a knockout loss. They went back and they rebuilt and took the fights that they needed to. AJ hasn't really had that chance. Even off his last losses, due to his competitive nature, he's hopped back in, straight back in at the deep end. That might not have always been the best thing for him. As I said, if you look back through history and look at fighters that suffered, like as I said, it's just the one because it's at the front of my head, that lost to Lennox Lewis's knockout defeat. They rebuilt before they went straight back in. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, obviously, the British public, there's a lot more, people are a lot less patient these days. That's because of the way society is built. But yeah, and they want to see him thrown back into big fights straight away. And I genuinely believe that he wants to be in them. But having someone to look over his shoulder and help him rebuild properly isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that him coming back in, sorry, I'm trying not hard to focus on the pads. But him coming back, having a few more fights before he hops straight back into that deep end with a Fury and Wilder isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it will do him the world of good. It'll bring his confidence back, and yeah, I think you will see a new AJ.
Matty, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV. We have got the pad works going on behind us, so a bit distracting, but best of luck on Friday night, and I'm sure everyone will be tuning in as you start the show, I'm sure with a bang, on Channel 5.
Yes, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, bro.
Refuse to not be first. Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
Must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,